What is up, everybody? And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the technique of the Sinkovic Brothers, and then I guess also as part of their four, the Lonkovic Brothers, but still it's mainly going to be focused on the Sinkovic Brothers, their technique over the last 12 years of international racing and how it's changed, and how, in my opinion, I would say that it's maybe not changed for the best. I want to break down why I think they were rowing better when they were in the double, how they were doing that, and then also break down how they're rowing now in the fours and in the sweet boats, and what I think the differences are, and why I think they're obviously still an amazing crew, but why I think they're not as dominant as what they were in the double. First off, I just want to say I'm a massive Sinkovic Brothers fan. They were part of my inspiration for getting into the sport. Because I know I'm not short. I know people always get annoyed when I say this. I'm basically 6 foot, in between 6 foot and 6'1". I'm basically 5'10" if you look at my height, because of my neck and face makes up most of the height. But anyways, I remember looking up how tall do you need to be a rower and shit like that when I was starting, which I shouldn't have done. But I found these guys, saw they were a dominant crew, and it gave me a massive amount of belief, and I have a lot of admiration for them. Also, just from the world rowing scene, anybody that's interacted with them say they're literally the nicest, most down to earth people. Also, they just share all their training data on Strava. Like, if you go in, literally just search Martin Sinkovic, or you can look up this code if you want. And for the past years, they've just been putting everything that they've been doing onto Strava. You can go in, literally look, okay, they did, well, they're probably doing some pieces or something here. You can go and say, okay, they did a lunge row. They did, probably some intervals here. You can go in and, look at what speeds they were doing and when and what their heart rate was. And they even do the stroke rate as well. So, again, I like to try and jump to the chase with these videos, but because I'm going to be doing breakdowns, I just want to show that I'm a massive fan, and anyways, have a lot of respect for them. So Henley shows people's flaws more than any other race, in my opinion. You've got the booms right beside you. You've got the wash of other crews. You've got the wash of other pleasure boats. You've got just the excitement and the kind of novelty of everything. Anyways, the going a little bit back, this in 2014, if you ask me, this was peak Sinkovic Brothers. 2015, they're obviously still super dominant. They set the world record in 2014. They went on to win the Olympics in 2016. And if you ask me, their technique wasn't as good as it was in 2014 when they were racing. And for me, I've broken down these guys before, but this comes down to how, guys, so simple. It's literally so simple. It is how loose are they at the front of the stroke, how low their shoulders are, and again, the two of them. So Martin is the faster sculler. He's faster on the erg, and if you ask me, his technique's better as well. And then Valent is the one in stroke. He's the one, I guess, who sets the rhythm, who they find works best, kind of deciding how they race and how they rate. I've always thought that Martin just loads much better, and as he pushes, it's something I wish I could break down in more detail, because I hate just using rowing jargon, but loads really nicely. You can see there's just a nice low connection here, and he hangs, and there's this nice smooth kind of transfer of force through the hips, and he drives nice and low, and there's no kind of upward motion. For Valent, we see here, I guess maybe an example is, look at Valent's shoulder position here. Look at the difference between the shoulder to the ear. Shit, I thought I wasn't recording there. Look at the difference between the shoulder to the ear here. And then as they start to drive, watch how it changes. And if you just, in my opinion, the way Valent, it just kind of, the load goes up a little bit. Another thing is the kind of chin. The chin kind of opens up like that. And when you open up your chin, if you tuck your chin up, your chest is going to go up. You're going to open up your back. Martin keeps that chin forward a little bit better, and it just looks like more connected to me. And then secondly, when they come through this second part of the stroke, again, they're still doing this really well, but like if you ask me, the way Valent is transferring force, it looks like he's just bringing that load up a little bit, and the force is going up into his shoulders. It's not going low, and then Martin is doing that a little bit better. This is all relative. There's still like incredible technique. I just want to break this down for what we're going to talk about in the future. And you definitely like both of them are more loose here, and they coming through this part of the stroke, they really like transfer that force better through the foot plate, and they hang better. Shout out to the person who told me how to use arrow keys with QuickTime. It's so much easier for doing these breakdowns. But yeah, anyways, moving to the 4, and again, it's super easy to criticize crews off of the start, especially off the start at Henley. But what the... As they come up level, bear with me here as we sit in awkward silence. You know, it's just much more of a force that goes up. And when I talk about this a lot, it sounds like rowing jargon, but when you transfer force down low, that means, what does that mean? It means you're loose in your shoulders. There's no load that goes up. You're not applying force. Think about like if you were gonna lift up a fridge, you know, you wouldn't shrug your shoulders and take tension up here. You would stay loose, sit up, and apply force through your legs. And what happens when you drive your force up and you take tension up here, you don't go through your lats, you don't go through your legs, and then the boat goes up more, and then it also has to come down. And you just notice this boat that kind of rocks back and forth like this. And it's another thing that I've noticed in these Sinkovic brother crews more recently, is that the boats are just kind of going more up and down like this, rather than like in 2014 when the boat was just running nice and flat, nice and steady the whole way. So looking at the 4, again, guys, let me know if you can see what I'm talking about here. But it just looks like this force, there's the way the legs go down, there's just a bit of a slip and a bit of a kick. And you want your leg drive to be powerful and dynamic, but you also want it to be smooth and controlled. And part of that means that it looks slow in some ways. It looks like but it should really look like, you know, you're moving something. And sometimes when the legs just kick down a little bit too quick, combined with that kind of upper body like twist and opening here from Valent, and also Martin as well a little bit, it just means that they're not applying force through the hips and through the legs as well as I think they could be. And part of why I think, as somebody who mainly sculled and did a bit of sweeping, something I really found I struggled with was going into sweep boats, because there's like more rotation in the torso. It can be hard to like rotate the torso while also keeping your shoulders low. And it takes time to develop that, but because I think there's a bit of twisting going on, it also means that that load doesn't go through as well. And then coming through the back, I feel like an ass. I feel like an ass for this video. I really, honestly, there's a big part of me that didn't want to record it. Because I'm such a fan of the Sinkovic brothers. You guys are, if you're watching this, you guys are legends. You're still rowing to an incredibly high level. You still have a very good chance of winning the Olympics. It's just interesting to see, for me to look at the techniques. Anyways, so breaking it down, you know, and if we also look at the kind of the Lonkovic brothers, really, really tense in the upper body. Like, look at that loading going on. Shoulders up by the ears. That force goes up. You know, you can see this quite a big, like, look at the handle movement here to put the blade in at the catch. It's almost like, you know, a foot. I know it looks like they're actually down on stroke side, so let's maybe find another clip. Or they were down on bow side. But you just look here, like how high they're lifting their hands to put the blade in. quite a lot of like movement to put the blade in relatively. And it just means that when you have more of that movement as well, the bigger the motion you have to do here, the more likely you're going to lift up with your back and your shoulders and take tension in your shoulders. That's why a lot of it comes down to how you prepare going in and how you tap down. And we can see here coming out that the hands are pretty high in 2C. I don't know which of the brothers this is. Hands come out pretty high. Blades are close to the water. And then before they put the blade in, they have to dip the hands down. You guys know I talk about this all the time. They have to dip the hands down and then lift the hands up. Whereas, I know some of you are new here, so I'll just go over this. If you just tap down low and keep your hands low, you can square there and then lift up. But if you draw through, tap down a little bit, keep your hands high. For you to square, you have to dip your hands down and then lift up. At the point in the stroke where you're trying to be still, you're trying to minimize upper body movement so that you can apply force into the legs, into the front. So some actionable stuff, like I want to get into some actionable stuff for you. When you take the blade out, tap down low, then square, keep it low, then square early. Then when you put the blade in at the front, think about having as little movement as possible to put the blade in. Think about, you're just letting the blade fall in. You're not using your upper body to do that. As you lift and as you start to push with your legs, you want to keep that relaxation in your upper body. You don't want to bring in tension as you push. You should almost be as loose on the way going forward as you are on the way driving back. Push with your glutes, push with your legs, hang, take patience, and press through your feet all the way. Then when you get to the finish, take the blade out square and repeat. Okay, maybe a bit of a shorter, sharper one. Just some of my thoughts on the Sinkovic Brothers. Again, you guys are legends. I can't wait to watch you guys bring on this challenge. Also, like, they probably could have just stayed in the double and dominated, but they're such like lovers of the sport and lovers of the game that they want to do things differently. They want to challenge themselves. And I think that is just, I think, arguably there's not been any other people to do this as successfully as they have. I don't know, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. To switch from sculling to sweep to pairs to fours and to do it so dominantly. So excited to see these guys throughout the Olympiad. And yeah, if you have any questions or you hate me, let me know. Fair enough. Comment. I've done protein shake before. If you made it this far, comment open protein shake. Yeah. Okay. Bye.